Hello, everyone. It's Jaden for Student Pages. Hope I've caught you all doing very well once again. Today we have another artist spotlight interview for you guys. We are here with Tom Ball. How are you doing?
I am very well. Thank you so much for having me.
No, of course, it's absolutely our pleasure. So, Tom, if you could just give us a bit of a rundown as to how you got into music and what the catalyst was that put you into AGT and BGT.
Great question. The last 3 years have been a roller coaster from recording music, touring, traveling, BGT, AGT. But it all started when I was 8 years old, and it was my mum that got me into music. I grew up kind of in a household filled with fantastic songs. Just Elton John, Phil Collins, Fleetwood Mac, musical theatre. And I wouldn't say I sang in tune, but I definitely shouted in tune. And that's what my mum kind of recognized. And so she put me in for singing lessons. And then every single second of every single day that wasn't sleeping, eating, or in school was spent performing, singing, having lessons, and trying to get better at music. And so I went on to college to study performing arts. And then that led me on to university, which I went to a conservatoire in London called Trinity Laban to do my musical theatre degree. And then COVID hit, and I had I wanted to start my family. I had my fiance at the time, who's now my wife. And I knew that I needed something maybe a little bit more stable, especially if I wanted to get a house, start a family.
Yeah.
And so I went back to university down in Sussex to do my master's in teaching, and I qualified as a secondary school drama teacher, drama and music. I did that for a couple of years, absolutely loving it, really hard work, but not really singing or performing in any way. And then I saw an advert for Britain's Got Talent, and I thought, what's the worst that can happen? It gives me an opportunity to sing. So I sent a video in, and very quickly I ended up on that stage in front of the judges, and my life changed overnight. And again, it has been a roller coaster ever since.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, I forget which of the judges it was, but I believe one of them literally said you were like one of the best voices they've seen on the show in 16 years, was it? I mean, that's what a compliment, you know?
It was incredible. It was Amanda Holden that said it. And if I'm being honest, when you're there doing it, you don't really take in what's just happened and what you've just done. It kind of runs by very, very quickly. And I remember walking off stage, going home and speaking to my mum, and basically saying, I think Amanda said I was the best singer they've had in 16 years, but there's no way she said that. And I genuinely couldn't remember. And it wasn't until they aired it a couple of months later, I was like, oh my goodness, they've even included the clip. It did happen. So yeah, it was a wonderful comment. And I will always thank Amanda, Simon, David, and Alicia for the incredible kind comments they gave me.
Yeah, no, I mean that I can imagine that's just so surreal to hear, you know. Yeah, I can't it doesn't honestly come as a shock that you were sort of like, there's no way that happened. And then it took
Oh, well.
viewing it to be like, oh, all right, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's gotta be wild. I mean, you've obviously done a lot since BGT then with your new single Timeless out now. If you could just tell us a bit more about the track and what the thought
Yeah.
process was behind that song.
So over the last 3 years, I've been so lucky to start releasing music. We released 3 singles off the back of AGT, which absolutely blew up and allowed us to get a record deal and release my debut album last year now. And then we've continued to kind of work with different producers, different areas, different companies. And we found, or we were approached, I should say, by this incredible team of people called the Allen team that work on big orchestral original projects headed by the incredible Susan Lim and Deepak. And they invited me to take part in their third installment, which I'm sure we'll talk about again in a year's time when it comes out. During that, one of their songs that they created was called Timeless, this beautiful love story written by Christina and Ron Danziger. And it just so happens that Christina and Ron got engaged, the first couple ever to get engaged within Studio One of Abbey Road. And they wanted
Oh,
to walk down the aisle to the song that they created. And so I was asked if I would lend my voice to this incredible song in Abbey Road while I was there recording for another project. And of course, I obliged. I said, yes, let's do it. And
yeah.
so the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, Studio One, Abbey Road, the London Voices Choir, And we finished it, and there was this silence. There was this moment where we went, we need to release this song. It can't just be for a wedding. We have to release this. And so very quickly, in the space of maybe 3-4 weeks, we had it all together. We had a music video. We were working so hard as a team to create this beautiful song just about an endless, everlasting love. And while there is a very real love story behind it, for me, it was so easy to be able to connect with it with the birth of my daughter, my miracle IVF baby, Adeline.
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm like, well, that song for me means this. And if I can connect to it, I know so many listeners and fans and supporters will be able to listen to that song and just find that love in their life and know that that song's about that with them.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard a story like that behind the creation of
That's
a song, to
incredible.
be honest with you. That's mind blowing. I, no, I mean, oh God, what a beautiful story. And absolutely, I agree. It's like, I suppose a song like Timeless, you can apply it to any beauty in your life, no matter what the reason, you know. So yeah, no, absolutely. I can totally see how you would relate to that through your own life. That absolutely makes sense. And I mean, I think Ron and Christina aren't the only people that you've collaborated with. I mean, Simon Rhodes, Steve Fallone. It's like
Yeah.
you've had a lot of collaborators on your
12-time
projects.
Grammy winners. I mean, they just finished working with Taylor Swift, and then they're working on my track. It's wow,
That is
mad.
crazy, isn't it? I mean, what's that been like working with people like that and with such huge minds in the industry?
A real honor to begin with. You know, to be working and associated with those incredible musicians who have proved themselves within the industry. And then there's little old me who's only 3 years into the industry. It feels like a real honor, honestly. You know, for my original album, my first album that came out last year, we also had Gary Barlow write me a song, which is on the album.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's another moment that I go, how did that happen? Like how on earth? I know how it happened. I was there. But there's a song on that album with Gary Barlow and Eliot Kennedy who wrote the song and gave it to me as a Christmas song. And then it's happened again with Timeless. And so I feel incredibly honored. I'm learning so much from these incredible minds as I journey through and continue to improve and have new experiences.
That's incredible. Honestly, when I was looking through people you've worked with, I don't know how I missed Gary Barlow. Yeah, you'd think that's an obvious one unbelievable. No, that's incredible. Oh my goodness. Right. I mean, so for your music then, what do you think makes it stand out and how would you describe it? How would you like define your voice?
I would say, and I think I've become quite well known singing these styles of song, is big, powerful love ballads or James Bond. Big
Okay.
Bond song, big movie, orchestral, which is why Timeless fits so perfectly. If you look at the catalogue of music that we've recorded and released, from I Who Have Nothing, Rise Like a Phoenix, even a song like Feeling Good, which is on my original album, has this massive orchestral sound to it. And so I think the sound and the songs that I enjoy singing are these big, powerful songs that I get to just live in those moments and listen to the music. And there is something so special about performing live with an orchestra, like a big philharmonic orchestra. There is no word for it. I remember standing in the studio because the first time I got to actually perform with an orchestra was at Abbey Road. And I stood in that room. They started to warm up, you know, that sound of them
Yeah,
tuning
yeah.
in, and it hit me. And I got so emotional because it really is an experience like none other.
Yeah, because I imagine as the person singing, it's like you're so used to doing that in if not complete silence, then maybe with a backing track, but actually having that surround you, yeah, that must have been absolutely mind blowing.
It engulfs you, and then you've got to try and sing and match them and not compete with them, but match their energy and make sure that you're doing as good a job as they are. The
Oh
pressure,
yeah,
the
you're
pressure.
working to high standards
Yeah.
in that environment. Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned James Bond actually, because I was gonna say I bet your voice is so applicable to songs like Skyfall and No Time to Die and stuff. I can totally see the vision there.
Yeah, well, there's a few things I can't tell you at the moment, but we're working on the second album at the moment. And so
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is maybe a few more sprinkled in there. Skyfall is a song that I sing at almost every single show I do, along with Writings on the Wall. They're just two incredible, powerful Bond songs that I love.
Yeah, no, honestly, some incredible music there, and it's like, yeah, no, I can totally see how your voice would like synergize with that. I mean, talking a little bit more about your journey then to where you are now, what's the experience been like with the people you actually know, like your friends and family? What's their response been to this rise?
My family are incredibly, incredibly supportive. They're wonderful people that I know. I wouldn't want to do this journey without them. Just my dad now travels with me and tours with me. So my dad has become my tour manager. Yeah, I love it because with a tour manager, you need someone that you trust and someone that understands you and can kind of navigate situations and have your best interests at heart. And who better to have than a member of your own family that's grown up with you and knows me and knows if I'm worried about something, I don't need to say something. Dad can see it. And so he deals with it. And so it becomes so wonderful. And I love traveling around the country with my dad. I get to experience some amazing moments with my dad. And my mum is the first person I call when I've got some exciting news. And of course, my incredible wife, who at the moment, while I'm gallivanting around the world, currently in Lithuania, tomorrow in Estonia, then Stockholm, like day by day, I'm just somewhere new. She's at home looking after our 5-month-old and doing such an incredible job. I genuinely couldn't do this job and couldn't live this life without the sensational support of my wife. She's amazing.
Yeah, no, that must be so wonderful actually having that support circle, you know. It's like, especially about the people literally closest to you. I think that's something not everyone has, but when you do, you either sort of don't or you really do, I've found, you know, and
Yeah.
I think it's so sweet to hear when people have this such strong bond with the people around them and that they love what they do.
I love it. I love it. And I've also got an incredible manager. So I was very, very fortunate straight after Britain's Got Talent. I got a phone call from one of my idols, which was Michael Ball. And he invited me to go sing with him at the London Palladium. And of course I said yes.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
you would,
a
wouldn't you?
moment right off of BGT. And he invited me, and I went along. And there I met this incredible group of guys called the Overtones, multi-platinum selling band in the UK. I got talking with one of the members called Jay James, and I kept talking to him every single day. We ended up chatting, and very quickly we discovered that I had no idea what I was doing. Really, honestly, nothing. I was no longer had a teaching position. I wanted to make a go of it, but had no clue what my next steps were. And without Jay, I wouldn't be here. He signed me up, part of the Fly United, his management company, and we spoke every single day. And he got me gigs, record deals. He's absolutely sensational, and to be honest with you, has very, very quickly become one of my closest and dearest friends as well. Him and his entire family. And I think the whole last 3 years, what I've learned the most is it is about who you surround yourself with and the teams that you build. It's not just me standing on stage and singing. There's so much work that happens behind the scenes. And I'm so fortunate to have an incredible team that work so hard, but then are so wonderful and supportive. And Jay's at the top of that tree.
Yeah, you need it, don't you? Especially again when, like we've already touched on, obviously friends and family, but yeah, when it comes into sort of your career and when you have people that are so close to basically your image out there, yeah, you gotta you gotta be careful who you let in on that. So yeah, to have that level of trust, that's so great to hear. I mean, I suppose on the reverse end then, because we've been very happy in sunshines and rainbows when you were on BGT and AGT, and even since then, before then, have you faced any criticism or naysayers online? Because there's always the trolls, isn't there? But I don't know if you've had any run-ins.
Yeah, I mean, there's always people that will, for no reason, just decide to disagree or to speak. And I think it's so much easier these days to write a negative comment than it is to write a positive comment. And so it's something you've got to learn to deal with. And I'm still learning, I'm still progressing. But, I put out weekly vlogs. And every comment, 98% of the comments are lovely about what I've done that week and the connection with people, but there'll be a spattering of comments, maybe 2, 3 comments that I read that are negative or talk about something absolutely unrelated, but those are the comments that you will read and stick with you. And you forget the hundreds of comments that have come before that are positive, and you just focus on the negatives. And so I think anyone in the public eye, if you put yourself out there, you should expect some people to disagree with what you say, what you do, even if there is no real need for it, or you know, you're not doing anything controversial, you're just singing on stage. Someone's going to say something negative, and you've just got to learn to either read it or just don't read it. And if you do read it, put it to one side.
You got to be careful as well when you have like a platform, you know, and how you respond to these things, because it can, A, people will use anything against you that they can, and B, it's like whatever you put out there represents you, and that's scary, you know.
Yeah, it's so many times I've been tempted to comment back, but it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. They'll love the fact that you've commented back, and ultimately, it's not needed. It's not needed, and so I just don't do it. I just don't engage with it. And if they want to say something negative, they can say something negative, and that's fine.
No, you absolutely make the right call. I mean, I suppose still touching on social media then, what's your relationship with that like? You know, are you an advocate for it? Are you pleased with your presence on there, or do you kind of wish if it were possible you could discard it all?
No, I enjoy using social media. The thing I'm most proud of is the incredible community that have stuck by me and have built and have grown. And it's the best way to communicate with them. If I put out a story, ask a few questions, put out a post, I love reading through the comments and I love responding to people and then getting to meet them live in person at shows and put a face to a name. It's the only way and the best way to have everyday communication, contact with basically the reason I'm still able to do this job. You know, I've got an incredible team, but without people that will listen to the music, come see the shows, engage with me, I can't keep doing this. And so I'm always thankful for those people and social media for giving me that ability to do that on a daily basis and a very personal basis. Of course, social media can get in the way of lots and lots of things. And sometimes I wish I could have a week off. And I do sometimes. I think to begin with, I didn't. I posted every day, same time, and it became unhealthy. But now I've got a wonderful relationship where I post when there's something really good to post. And if I really want to connect with people, and if I take a couple of days, I take a couple of days and then I'll be back.
Yeah, you don't owe anyone anything. I think that's a lesson that everyone needs to learn eventually, is that you do this because you want to, not because you have any moral obligation or like, you know, or that you owe anyone anything. It's like, no, I think as long as you have that healthy relationship, I think that's something really good to sustain.
Absolutely.
I suppose trialing back a little bit to your music then, did you have any real life experiences that have made its way into what you do? Like, have you channeled any perhaps negative things you've gone through into your music, or is that something you plan on doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I'm type 1 diabetic, and I have been since I was 8 years old, and it affects every part of my life. From going to university, university was so hard, especially a musical theatre degree with type 1 diabetes. I was doing dance classes, and I just couldn't get my blood sugar levels in a good place, and I ended up missing a lot of dance classes that I look back on, and I regret. But there was nothing I could do. It's a medical condition, an autoimmune condition that will be with me for the rest of my life, and I have to learn to manage it. But I have been able to channel that into my music. In my first album, Curtain Call, there was a song on there called Let Me Live. It was the first songwriting session I did after Britain's Got Talent, after signing the record deal. I went into the room in London with an incredible songwriter and musician called Matthew Nolan. And he sat me down. I was very naive. I had no idea what I was about to do because I've never done a songwriting session. I've written songs, but I've never been in the room with someone and with that dedicated time to write something. And he said to me, What do you want to write? What do you want to write about? And I said, my diabetes. Let's write a song that gives me power over this condition that often has control and power over what I do in my life and my day-to-day. And we wrote this song, and it's, again, universal. You don't listen to that song and go, oh, it's about type 1 diabetes. It's about
Yeah.
any struggle that might overtake your life. But for me, it's so personal, and I love singing that song. It's a powerful, powerful song for me to sing, and I do adore it.
No, it's so interesting you mentioned that actually, because again, I suppose obviously being someone who isn't in a position like that, I can't directly relate. But my friend Leo has diabetes, and I went to like a drama school with him for 7 years. So really,
Yeah,
really funny coincidence, really. But no, it's like yeah, I remember I've spoken to him about it, and yeah, it's such a. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I think the word he used was debilitating, and that like it can really take you out of the room that you're in, and it's like, oh my goodness, I just have to commit to this when it's like this shouldn't be a part of my life. So yeah, I can imagine that would be a very intense struggle to get past.
yeah. The worst time I've ever had with my diabetes was university. I moved out of home.
Mm.
I started cooking my own food. I started living by myself, and so the consistency of your parents, your family looking after you suddenly goes. You are on
Mm.
your own, and if you've got something like type 1 diabetes, that throws everything out the window. And no joke, for 3 years before I kind of moved in with my fiance, my wife, I struggled, really struggled to manage my diabetes, really struggled. But I've got to say, I'm in a much better place now. The job that I do is not conducive with diabetes. Diabetes needs regularity. You need to
Mm.
eat the same time, preferably do exercise at the same time, and then you'll get consistent reading. I don't have that at all. But because of new technology and me understanding my body and what I need, I've got much better control. Still have bad days, but much better.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fantastic to hear. No, that's really, really great. So I mean, go on then. Outside of music and outside of this big world that you've embraced and gone out into, what do you do when you scale it back a bit? You know, it's like what is there any hobbies that you do in your free time that you're particularly passionate about?
I love photography and videography. I love
Mm.
making little movies. I've got it's awful. I'm a big tech person. I love technology. I like getting new technology, buying new technology, trying out new technology, and so I've got all the gear with no idea. But I love creating movies, especially with my family. Like if we go out for the day, I'll bring the camera, I'll record, and then I'll edit a little video together. And like my nephew's birthday was the other day, and my sister turned to me and went, "You're bringing the camera, right?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I created a little movie, a 3 minute video of Roman's birthday, my nephew's birthday, and so
Mm.
she's got that forever. So I enjoy that, and I enjoy a bit of gaming, a bit of VR, a bit of just chilling, relaxing, reading a book every so often is lovely as well, and just spending time with family.
Yeah, you're scaring me a bit with the parallels here. You know, it's like I feel like carrying a camera around and loading up the PlayStations. Two of the only things
Oh,
I do outside of journalism stuff. Honestly, it's great though, isn't it? You know, it's like you can't put the stuff down that you enjoy at the end of the day. I think everyone needs that person, like that person in their life that carries around the camera for everything as well. Because it's like I got sent a reel, funnily enough, that really summarized it for me. That said. When you got that one friend who has to film everything and it kind of annoys you at first, but then you realize you can look back on stuff from years ago and it's like, yeah, it's true, isn't it? You know, it's like, oh my goodness.
always behind the camera, never in the photo. Until
True. There are
I'm on
no
set.
good photos of me.
No, 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 no. Family wise, there's a lot of my family. I'm not often in the photo or in the video. However, when it's the polar opposite, when I'm doing work, I'm always in front of the camera. So it's a really weird juxtaposition where I've got a lot of professional
True.
and work photos and videos of me, but not a lot of family.
Just Photoshop yourself in, you know, just take like the promo pictures out and put yourself in, you know.
A really corny, awful photo of me with a lovely family photo. I love it.
Do it like put a white background behind yourself just to make it really obvious that you're not actually there.
Really, really bad Photoshop. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, full blown JPEG. So I mean, for us being student pages, we obviously like to give advice for students and stuff like that. So I mean, what advice would you have for someone who's in university, maybe at college, sort of my, 18 to 21 age, wanting to do what you've done?
It's a great question. A great question. It's probably cliche, and you probably get a lot of people saying it, but just take in every single experience you get offered. Try not to say no to new experiences. If someone offers for you to do something out of your comfort zone, like joining a society, a club, and you go, well, I'm not sure about it, give it a go. You might find something you absolutely love, connect with new people, people that will see you through your career, and you can stand on their shoulders, they can stand on yours. The best way of meeting people and progressing and becoming a more well-rounded person is to live experiences, and university and colleges, they're the best time to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because again, it's like those opportunities are there. They're like directly in front of you. And so much of the time they don't cost anything as well.
When you leave university, you don't have those clubs. You either have to pay for them or they're just not really existent.
Mm.
But university, they are there. So take the opportunity, do it. Even once.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, just don't go back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, perfect advice. It's like, yeah, just do what you can while you can do it. So I mean, scaling it back to yourself then, I always try and end off on a massive, massive question. And the one that we've been liking at the minute that I think you'll have a great answer for is throughout everything that you've done, this entire journey, what would you say has been the biggest challenge of it all?
That's a great question. Well, I've got about 5 different answers and I have to choose one.
I like how open-ended it is. It could literally be anything.
The biggest challenge over the last 3 years, I'd probably say, and it is personal, but it does go into my work, and it is the journey that me and my wife have been on over the last year and a half with the birth of Adeline, my baby. It was an IVF journey, and anyone that's been through a journey of IVF will know it's difficult, really difficult. It's a challenge, a mental challenge of worry and fear and stress, and that feeds into my work because one, I'm worrying and fearing about my wife and the starting of the family and whether that's going to be possible, whether we'll be able to achieve our dream, and then feeds into work-life balance of I'm working so much and I'm not home, so how do I support my family and how do we build that? And it becomes a real time management issue as well as a emotional roller coaster and issue. And so I feel like I'm on the other end of it now, and I can look back at it because we've got a baby girl, and I can look at that and be so thankful. But I look back and I do recognize quite how stressful and worried I was. I was on tour during this whole thing happened, like during the process. And so I was often away doing shows and greeting people and being such a positive, or trying to be such a positive force on the audience and on the people that I was working with. But then as soon as the door closes, I'm on the phone to my wife asking how she's doing, how everything's going. And that emotional roller coaster is a lot to deal with.
No, I can totally see why that would be. And obviously, huge congratulations on the birth of your daughter. That is such a wonderful, it's a wonderful thing to happen to anyone, but evidently it's like you've done so much with, the talent that you've got, and to be able to actually build that foundation on a personal level as well and keep all that going as well. That's an amount of juggling that I will always respect. And I think it's such an incredible thing to be able to do.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
No, of course. So, Tom, I mean, that's all the questions we've got for you. So thank you ever so much. Now's your opportunity. Plug everything you've got. What are you working on? What can we expect?
Right. Here comes the list. No,
This is tick box.
The first and foremost is go listen to Timeless. I'm so proud of it. It is absolutely our biggest single to date. Go stream it, listen into it, and watch out for a music video that's coming very soon. In fact, that music video won 2 Cannes World Film Awards, so I cannot wait for you to see it. Mate, it literally happened last weekend. Incredible. And then obviously I'm working on the second album, so go pre-order that. I'm on tour at the end of the year, so look at my website, officialtumble.com, to find out if I'm in a place near you. I'd love to see you there. And that's probably it. Go check out on social media, officialtumble.com. But single, album, tour. Let's do it.
Wowzer. You got everything going on, honestly, like shadow dropping everything at once. And it's what you got to do, innit? Nice one. Well, Tom, thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's been brilliant hearing your story.
Well, thank you so much.